God Kings, second part of, what, turn 7, I guess. Started off with the Egyptians. They've got to do something about it now, so they drove down to Canaan. Absolutely and this is the king himself went down there, absolutely destroyed the entire force. I've got it here. I'm not sure what's going to happen to it. It may recuperate if the siege fails or something. I have to look that up. But the idea here is to connect up the territory, and they do want to get both their cities as well. So that's going to take 4 points of political control markers, which they have to play, as well as successfully sieging the city. The siege only started since they had a battle. It's still in place there. Well, on to the other powers. It looks like the Kassites are going to have sort of a free hand to move around and maybe take Amru. Well, the Kassites, instead of going after Amru, they slid up through Nahrin and grabbed Ugarit. They successfully sieged it, and now they just need this. They can get the whole Ugarit province if they take that. For the Hatti, however, what did they do? They played this popular upheaval card, and they say, you know, Assyria, you're trouble. We're taking your supply line away. Even if you manage to capture this, you're going to have to go back and handle Mitanni province. And that may buy us some time, because the way things are falling out, maybe the Kassite territory will be more tasty or whatever. Just to hold off there. We'll see what the Assyrians do about this. They played a Way of Horus card, which gives them 2 extra movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, if they drop everything off and only take their cav here, they can make it to here with 7. And that puts them within range where they can go 1, 2, 3, 4 if they have another card, and at least take a shot at getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we'll see. At least it gives them a shot at getting something this next upcoming turn. I'm not sure if it's gonna. They're down to 1 card left, so they're not gonna have a lot of options. They spent a lot of cards on fighting. Well, that puts us into the 4th round. And for the Kassites, they had enough troops that they would have overrun the remaining Egyptian forces that were left behind. 1 could take refuge in the city. The other 2 were just destroyed. A siege was set up. A roll was made. They failed. They got their siege continued. On to the Hatti. They played. Grab a bunch of mercenary units. Didn't really avail much, though, because the Assyrians did come up, knocked them out. But the Assyrians aren't going to get anything. They don't have a card. They got a victory point off of it. But they don't have a card to allow them. Oh, and they forgot to take Mitanni. They don't have a card to help them take Yeshua. So now they've kind of fallen behind, actually, and they're in worse shape than they were before. They've lost a province that they probably shouldn't have gone chasing the Hatti for. If I can find their army. Their army's in pretty good shape. For next turn, it's going to be all full. They were able to take their losses almost, or actually entirely, in terms of the permanent stuff on their chariots. That makes it kind of attractive maybe for the Hatti to attack again and try to wipe them out. But the Hatti have another desire, which is Mukashir. We move forward. We still haven't seen the Egyptian commander, new king, come in. And we finish off the turn. Let's see. The Egyptians played a 3-point card and grabbed most of Canaan back. The Kassites finished their siege in Aleppo, thereby getting them Ugarit. The Hatti, tough call. They would have been almost even here. See, 4 shifts against, though, numerically they were about even. 4 shifts against, though, due to the Assyrian troops and Assyrians home having the PC marker there. Only 1 in their favor, so they would have been facing a plus or minus 3 to the die roll. Chances were they'd lose the battle, So they'd give another victory point to Assyria. While they might destroy a bunch of Assyrian units, which is really attractive, what they wouldn't have gotten is the victory point in the production that they're going to get off of having Mukish, which they took from the Egyptians. And they also struck down and almost took Carchemish. They were able to siege that because there was nothing in the way. They could have gotten that from the Kassites. Now, Megiddo or whatever, as far as I can understand, they're gone. They lost their capital. They can't come back. But their card didn't say removed from game. Maybe it's supposed to, maybe it's not. I don't know, because there are a lot of screw-ups with the cards. But the way I'm playing it, the way they're written, I can say, okay, they're good. Let's just, you know, if they come back, that's fine. It's been historically a problematic area anyway, right? All right, well, let me square the points, and then I guess we'll wrap this one up. It'll be a really short one, but the nature of my work means that I have to be able to put up the videos overnight. I can't try to string them together and push them a little later or whatever. I really need to have a lot of bandwidth during the day. Well, for victory points, first I thought the Egyptians were doing quite well, 14. That's not bad, but the Kassites have them beat with 16. They've got a nice little territory slid forward here. And with the Egyptians, you know, sort of waning a little bit, it's beginning to look pretty potent there. And they are the only ones taking on the Egyptians. So there's no way that the alliances are going to change unless somebody goes against the Kassites, which seems unlikely because they're only at 63 points. The Egyptians are in the 80s. Somebody's got to take them down. It's got to be there. So therefore we get this Hatti Assyrian war continuing. And there, what are they fighting out with? Well, the Assyrians are doing quite well because of the Mitanni points, but now they're only pulling in 6 a turn. The Hatti are pulling in 11. They're kind of in last place with 50 and not gaining enough on everyone else to make a real stab at things. If the Assyrians can beat them overall and can kind of get some power over here in Asia Minor, well, then maybe they've got a shot, but I don't see the Hatti having one. Other than that, though, it really comes down to, can Egypt hold off the Kassites long enough? And, you know, there's no real advantage one way or the other. Except maybe some people might play cards to help the Kassites, but not terribly at this point, I don't think. But yeah, it comes down to, can Egypt hold off the Kassites? And I don't see them being unbalanced particularly long enough that they can win the game, because they're in that position right now. And unless you know, a 3-point province swings, like Amaru swings over, I don't see where the Kassites are going to win. The only question, of course, would be, well, could the Assyrians gain enough? Could they maybe make a big stab into the Kassites and make a play for it? But their competition is the Egyptians. They can't weaken the pressure on the Egyptians. Really looks to me like Egypt's got this one in the bag, but we'll see. And leadership-wise, well, we've got a good Egyptian leader coming in. We never got the Egyptian leader for this turn, the heir, Horemheb. He just didn't happen. Which is kind of an interesting factor that can come about in this game, I guess, for a few leaders. Otherwise, we're seeing pretty good leaders across the board. This is very good. He's going to be replaced by someone weaker. Here we've got a very good Babylonian one. And he too is going to be replaced by someone a little weaker. But overall, we got a lot of good leaders at this moment. All right, up it's going to go, I guess.